Hey everybody, ChuckFit here with another video, this time giving you my unscripted thoughts on Transformers The Fall of Cybertron. So I know, yeah, it's kind of a little late review for it, considering how the game's been out for a couple weeks now, I think it is. But I finished it actually last weekend. I just didn't have the time to do a review with, preparing for a hurricane and whatnot. But yeah, so now I can just finally sit down and just tell you guys what I thought about it. And I guess I'll just first off say that it was an excellent game. And so I'll go on into some detail and tell you why it's an excellent game. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about now, of course, is the main focus of the game, which is the single player. This game is a direct sequel to War for Cybertron, the game that came out a couple years ago. Same developer and everything, High Moon Studios. And definitely in the single-player campaign, you can tell that High Moon Studios everybody there is like a huge Transformers fan. Just kind of how you can tell that like in Arkham City, that Rocksteady were huge Batman fans. Just tell by the attention and detail and stuff, and just the love that they put in there for the fanboys and stuff out there. And so I'm a big Transformers fan too. That was one of the things I kind of grew up with, along with Star Wars and Marvel and DC, all that kind of things. And especially after the Transformers movie came out, I started to get back into Transformers again. Which, that's kind of a topic for another day about Transformers movie and stuff. But anyway, so I'm a Transformers fan, and I've definitely started getting back into it a few years ago. And I can just tell all the little references and hints and stuff that they put in there. Excellent, excellent. And yeah, so the campaign itself, it's kind of a swap town. It seems like normally in the Transformers games that the campaign's always split in between the Decepticons and the Autobots. And usually the Decepticons go first in the game because you set up some kind of problem and then you resolve that problem in the Autobot campaign, which is actually kind of interesting that you play as the Autobots in the beginning of Fall of Cybertron, the Decepticons towards the end. Even though they kind of switch it up, especially near the last level, you are constantly switching between Autobots and Decepticons, which that was cool and stuff. But in the first few levels, the first level, the Exodus, is just kind of like a prologue tutorial level, which I already gave you my thoughts on that level in my demo impressions video I did the first weekend that the beta was out. And so, that's a tutorial level. It's all nice and flashy, shiny and whatnot, but no real substance to it. Then after that, you spend several levels playing as Optimus Prime, which, as other reviewers have stated, that the Optimus Prime levels, they're definitely the most repetitive and boring of the game. That's not to say that they're bad, they're just, kind of long and not a whole lot's going on. The big highlight of them, of course, is controlling Metroplex, the giant city-sized Transformer. And you can send down artillery strikes and stuff. So that's Optimus's special ability. And that's cool, but it kind of gets a little slow after a while. Pretty much, you just have Metroplex standing there in the skybox, shooting rockets and blowing up all the Decepticons and things. So, yeah, those were definitely not the highlight of the game by far, but, they're still good. It definitely got a chance to showcase the awesome combat of the game, which this is a third-person shooter, for those of you who don't know. And it's interesting because there's no cover mechanic in the game, unlike most third-person shooters. But however, you can switch whatever arm your gun is on. Since this is a Transformer, obviously you can transform which arm he has his weapon on and stuff. And so you can shoot around cover, so they kind of make up with that. And so that was interesting, and definitely. Comparing War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron, they definitely amped up the cinematic appeal of this game over the last one. Because the whole level, huge environments, beautiful, gorgeous art design, and there's always like something big going on in the background that you can see while you're fighting. It gives you the sense that this is like a huge battle going on. You're just not just like the only person that's fighting, and so they definitely amped up that kind of cinematic appeal. And so moving on, after the Optimus Prime levels, you play as Cliff Jumper and Jazz, which those definitely a very different gaming experience compared to Optimus's levels. Pretty much in Cliff Jumper's level, this is a kind of a stealth level, and it's not exactly the most punishing of stealth. It's not like you're playing like the old Splinter Cell games or anything, but you have this like a cool cloaking ability that's Cliff Jumper's special ability. And so that was definitely a nice change of pace from the more high-octane, guns blazing levels that you play as Optimus. And so that was nice, and they definitely changed up the environment. You're playing this kind of like old ruined location called the Sea of Rust, where pretty much it's like an old ancient Autobot city where something went really wrong, and pretty much it like doomed all the inhabitants. And so that was cool. And definitely along the way, these two games, War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron, are set in the Transformers Prime continuity. And Prime is the show. I think it's coming into its second season or maybe its third season. I don't remember. But it's in that continuity, and the show is like on the Hub Network. So it's not. While it may look like G1 on the surface level, definitely they changed up some of the characters, just their personalities and stuff, and changed around the story and things. Because later in the game you play as the Dinobots, and specifically, Grimlock. I feel bad for forgetting that for a moment. But you play as Grimlock, and if you watch G1, the 1980s Transformers cartoon, then you know that the Dinobots weren't built until after the Autobots and Decepticons were on Earth. So it's changing things around and stuff, which I understand it is like, it introduces a lot of new gameplay mechanics and kind of adds variety and stuff, and the Prime show is not, being a copycat of G1, which I respect that. But, so it's very, going back to Cliff Jumper's level, it was definitely a nice change of pace, and after that you play as Jazz, the nice, cool, sleek Autobot lieutenant, and there you have this cool kind of like I forget what they call it, like a whip ability, which you can like latch on to things, and it's the grapple. When I'm saying whip, I'm thinking like kind of like an Arkham City what Catwoman did. But it's a grapple ability. You can like sling on to different surfaces, and so that level definitely has more kind of a vertical gameplay compared to the earlier ones. Because obviously, Jazz, you can go to new heights that you wouldn't have normally been able to do. And so after that, then you get into the Decepticon levels, where you play as the Combaticons. Specifically, you play as Vortex. He's like the helicopter transformer, and so the flying levels are definitely my favorite, and they were my favorites in War for Cybertron as well, because it's a lot, different levels of gameplay. Like I said, the Jazz's level with the grapple, that's more vertical kind of gameplay. Well, definitely while you're playing as a Transformer that can fly around and stuff, there's definitely going to be a multi-level combat. And so that was nice, especially this one part where you have to take down a bridge, which you kind of play the beginning of that in the demo, and definitely very, very fun. And then after that you play as like the Dinobot. Well, I'm skipping a bit. Then after that you play as a different Combaticon who's a car and stuff, and definitely had a lot of that was very fast-paced level, because you're trying to take down this transport that's moving, so you have to move with it. But after that you play as Bruticus, which is when all the Combaticons combine into one giant transformer, and that was a nice kind of change up as well. definitely you're definitely not going to be able to go very fast if you're just giant hulking thing, and pretty much you're just dominating the battlefield, you know, stomping on the Transformers and like using your shield and bashing them and stuff. And so that was nice. After that, you play as I think it was, let me see, I'm trying to remember getting all my levels. Like I said, it was a week ago when I last played it. But anyway, it doesn't really matter what order I go in. You play as Megatron, of course, and you kind of dethrone Starscream. Then you play as Starscream, of course, where again the flying levels some of the best in the game, which gives you a lot more freedom than when you're just playing as a regular old Transformer that turns into like a car or something. Those levels tend to be more linear, while the levels when you're playing as one of the flying Transformers are more kind of a sandboxy feel. You have more space to explore and things. And after that, you play as Grimlock, so you switch back to the Autobot side, where also you get to change into his T-Rex alternate mode, which that's a lot of fun. And I like how they kind of made it where you have to build up this rage meter before you can transform. Because to be honest, you know, if you just got able to transform into the T-Rex anytime you wanted to, that'd be kind of unbalanced, because you pretty much dominate the battlefield when you're doing that. And so then when you get into the final part of the game, the final level, it's definitely very, very fast-paced. You play as some other switching in between both sides. You play as some Transformers that you've already played as in previous levels and some that you haven't. I kind of felt like the developers were like, oh snap, we're running out of time. We need to find a way for you to play as Soundwave. And now we're going to need you to play as Jetfire real quick. Which I like that Soundwave, and I wish that we'd gotten more time to play as Soundwave, because he had the cool ability. His special ability is obviously he can like deploy his little mini-cons that are inside of him, like Rumbler and Laserbeak and stuff. And so I did enjoy that ability, especially it's cool when he does it, he like presses the button on his chest and he's like, Operation Destroy Autobots and stuff, you know, just classic Soundwave and things, and it all harkens back to G1. And so I'm not going to spoil the end of the game or anything for you, but it gets very fast paced towards the end, and you get to choose kind of like how in all the Star Wars games you choose you want a dark side or light side ending. You kind of choose that in this game. But it was a very nice campaign to wrap it up. Very cinematic, great story, definitely a better story than all the Michael Bay films. And yeah, I'm not going to get into Michael Bay hate rant, but alright, so definitely I would recommend buying this game just for the campaign, but no, there's more. First off, escalation mode, which is kind of your typical horde mode. Escalation mode was in War for Cybertron as well, where pretty much you and 4 other people online will get to choose in between different Transformers to play as. There's two maps apiece for each faction. There's 2 Autobot maps and 2 Decepticon maps. Ugh. My throat's getting a little dry after talking for 10 minutes straight. And that was very cool. Also, you get a chance to play as Transformers that you didn't play as during the campaign, which I thought that was groovy. Like especially one of the Autobot levels, you can play as like Perceptor, Wheeljack, and stuff. And I'm trying to remember who else, but other like Autobots you didn't get to play as during the campaign. And I've played all 4 maps. I've beaten 3 out of the 4. The final one, I forget which it was called, but it was the Autobot map where you can like choose between like Ratchet, Warpath, Optimus Prime, and Bumblebee, I believe. And that's the only map I haven't beaten. But all the maps are very fun, very well balanced. And if you're into like the whole horde mode kind of gameplay and stuff, you'll definitely dig that, like if you like the Halo firefight mode and whatnot. And so that's a nice touch, but of course another big draw, and definitely one that they advertised a lot, was their competitive multiplayer, where you get to design your own Transformer and you swap out parts from a bunch of the characters and stuff, so create your own kind of Franken Transformer. Frankenformer. Yeah, let's start that term, Frankenformer. But yeah, definitely very cool. I love that ability to kind of choose all the different parts that make up your Transformer, and you can like change what their Decepticon colors scheme is and their Autobot color scheme, so you don't just have one universal color. Because to be honest, definitely one of the traits that Autobots and Decepticons have, besides personality traits, of course, is like you can visually tell them apart by like what their colors are. And they give you a bunch of wide assortment of little parts to change between. Like, I don't know, probably like at least like 10 different options per category, which they got like head, chassis, and stuff. And there's 4 classes, which I extensively talked about in my beta or demo impressions video, so I won't go into much detail here. Where pretty much you have the scientists, that's the flying Transformers. You have I forget the other class names. There's the one there's like the Scout, there's the small Transformers, there's the big Transformers, and so pretty much you get to choose what kind of one you want. There's the flying Transformers, there's like the Megatron class, and the Optimus Prime class, and then like the Bumblebee class. So you can pretty much kind of paint a picture of what all the options you have. And so, moving beyond just the character customization options, are all the different maps and different game types. The game actually launched with a good bit of maps. It seems like modern games nowadays, especially ones that have big online competitive multiplayer followings, like don't have a whole lot of maps at launch, because they always like throw in a bunch in like downloadable content that you have to pay for and stuff. And again, I could go into a whole nother rant about video game publishers' cheap business tactics, but I'm not going to do that here. And so anyway, there's like 10 maps, which is very nice. I'm not sure if I've played them all. I played a good bit of them, because I played a good bit of multiplayer. But they're all, as far as I can tell, they're all very well balanced. Some emphasize like ground combat more than others. Like there's some maps that are more like confined in close quarters, while there's other ones that are kind of this huge like open battlefield, so you can get your like flying units all around and stuff. So they definitely, some maps emphasize certain play styles more than others. But they all seem very well balanced. They don't give no real like camping spots and stuff of that nature. So yeah, and then the gameplay in multiplayer is the same as a single player. Obviously, I'm sounding a little silly. Of course, they kind of don't make you as powerful as a single player campaign, because you're just like another grunt. That's kind of like the whole thing you are. You're just another Transformer. You're not like one of the big character Transformers and stuff. But very balanced gameplay, definitely very, very good. I mean, how many times can I tell you that it's a good game? So I just feel like I'm repeating myself now. But yeah, I definitely do love this multiplayer, and I definitely see myself continuing to play this game's multiplayer for some time. And so that's about it, guys. I can't really think of anything else to go on about. We're almost 20 minutes in with me rambling about what I think of the game. And so yeah, excellent game. Sorry that I haven't been really doing these reviews recently. Pretty much because, the summer months don't really have a whole lot of good games coming out, to be honest. It's funny how movies and games kind of have complete opposite schedules. For movies, there's always the big summer action flicks, and then like winter you get into the Oscar season and stuff. And then for games, you got the spring and fall gaming seasons, with spring being like kind of, I'm not going to say like bad games, but I don't know, maybe games that aren't quite as hyped up as the fall season, with the exception of being like Mass Effect. That's the only one I can really think of. But then fall, that's like the Christmas season, like all those games, like, ooh, I want that one for Christmas and stuff, where you get your big name titles coming out, like Halo, Call of Duty, and all that. And so yeah, I'm not going to go into a deeper analysis of that. So yeah, that's about it for me, guys. As far as upcoming stuff goes, I saw Paranorman today being Labor Day, and that was an excellent movie, which I will try to review soon in the future. Yeah, that's it for me, guys. I'm not going to waste your time anymore. Thanks for watching as always. This is Joker Fett, signing out. Bye.